So we are like, give or take, around 11 days away from the official release date of Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, on June 30th. A lot of fans are actually very skeptical about this one and very concerned about the direction by Kathleen Kennedy and James Mangold, as well as Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who really played a large role in contributing to some of the story-driven elements in this. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And without further ado, let's get right into this. Now, we know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge has been working on a Tomb Raider series. Alright, this is official. She's talked about this. She's gone forward about this. She is working on Tomb Raider. She did also play a very big role in No Time to Die, Bond 25, by the way, and she wants to come back for Bond 26, which is even all the more worrisome because she wants to double down on that too. But what worries me even more as an Indiana Jones fan that I really grew up with is Indy 5's sequel, and this is something that Kathleen Kennedy has been talking about, that Spielberg mentioned, that Harrison Ford brought up at the Indy 5 world premiere, and this really just goes to show you that they, as in Kathleen Kennedy and those that are loyal to her at Lucasfilm and Disney, not all, but many, are relentless, alright? They are pretty much like Terminators. They really will not stop until they kill a franchise, essentially, until they destroy a franchise and then move on to kind of invent it of something of their own. So, looking forward to the next thing here, alright? So let's go into exactly what's going on with the Indy 5 sequel. Now, right now with Disney getting ready to boost their promotion for Indy 5, however, right now they are doubling down on an Indy 5 sequel that Kennedy already confirmed, as well as Harrison Ford. The sequel is set to not include Harrison or even Indiana, but rather the continued story of Helena. The sequel is set to focus on both Helena and Teddy, and that Lucasfilm is debating on whether or not this should be a movie or a series for Disney+, with Mangold set to return for a sequel. That's still in the actual overall structure, and that's all overall still in the talks, with the potential of another writer taking over. Some Disney executives that are loyalists to Kennedy are reported to have no care if Indy 5 fails, and that they are aiming to develop Indy 5's sequel regardless. The approach of the sequel via the notes by Kennedy and Mangold, as well as Phoebe Waller-Bridge, is that Kennedy wants Helena to obtain Indiana's hat, to go on more adventures, and to continue Dr. Jones' legacy as an adventure-driven character. Now, let me pause here quick. Now, do I believe that an Indy 5 sequel is going to happen? Still to this day, guys, I say no. A hard no. I do not see an Indy 5 sequel happening, regardless of what is happening behind closed doors right now, and all these discussions that are happening between Kennedy and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, etc., etc. If this comes to fail terribly at the box office, this is just not going to work. It's not going to happen at all, period, the end. And when you look at it like this in that sense, they did the same exact thing with the Solo: A Star Wars Story sequel. There were talks of a sequel in a very short amount of time, even though Howard, of course, denied those claims. It was something that Kennedy did eventually bring up, that there was a short discussion about a Solo 2 or a Han Solo spin-off, and that did not work out in the movie sense, per se. They are doubling down still on the Lando series, but with Bob Iger coming forward about right-sizing the upcoming Star Wars TV shows and canceling many, that most likely will too also get X'd out and get axed. Alright? So, moving to the next big thing here about what's going on behind the scenes involving this Indy 5 sequel, alright? So, on top of this, Kennedy is planning to have Phoebe Waller-Bridge write, direct, as well as star in the Indy 5 sequel. And though Bridge is getting ready to create a Tomb Raider series, many, of course, would view this as a very pointless approach. Right now, other Disney executives are trying to prevent this project from ever evolving. These executives are said to look up to Favreau and Filoni's work with Ahsoka and Mando Season 2. Now, Kennedy is reported to have suggested to Waller-Bridge that no Indiana Jones cameos or CGI recreations to be involved in the upcoming sequel. As it turns out, there was a previous series in the works for Indiana Jones that was going to work with the effects of time travel in Indy 5, but that was scrapped almost immediately, as this is a new, fresh approach with Helena just taking up Indy's mantle and carrying his hat along for one, of course, batch of adventures in this upcoming show or movie, whatever it may be. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is really reminding me of the Rey movie. It most certainly is. We saw what Rey did with Luke in The Last Jedi, what she did with the overall sequel trilogy, of how basically she took his name, she became Rey Skywalker, and now she's getting her own Rise of Skywalker sequel. The same exact thing applies here with Indy 5. Now, though she's not becoming Indiana Jones per se by name, she's going to be taking his hat in the Indy 5 sequel. That's basically what they are preparing to do with this continuation of the Indiana Jones universe. And like I said, Kennedy did talk about this, that they're not quite sure what it's going to be. If it's going to be a movie or a show, she's leaning more towards a show, most likely because they want to keep the budget very low and keep it on the lower end because they feel probably it's not going to do that well anyways. They just want to kind of force their agenda out there, and why not throw that on Disney Plus, right? So this is yet again another prime example that they're doubling down, they're very relentless, they don't care about you or me or anybody else out there that loves these franchises to the core, and this is yet again, Helena, as I always like to point it out there, Helena is the Rey of the Indiana Jones franchise. There's no question about it. You know, when we look at it like that, she basically is the Rey of the Indiana Jones universe. So, looking at the Indy 5 sequel, this is what's happening behind closed doors right now. There's a lot of conversations happening between Kennedy, Phoebe, James Mangold, Disney executives. Roughly 40% of the executives are actually agreeing with Kennedy's approach on all of this and are really agreeing with an Indy 5 sequel. The other percent wants nothing to do with this. These are the people that really live up for Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's work with Mando Season 4 that's shaping together slowly but surely, as well as Star Wars Ahsoka. If those two come to fail, then you have no momentum for Star Wars left. It's really all on their hands, and they are carrying that weight. So again, with Indy 5 sequel, do I believe it's really going to see the light of day? I mean, I really don't believe so. That's my hard take on this. That's my 2 cents. But I would not be surprised, even if Indy 5 comes to be a massive fail at the box office as projected, that they would still move along with an Indy 5 sequel. Most certainly. I would not be all that surprised, because if it's going to be a show, they can keep the budget low, and they're relying on subscriptions, you know, subscribers, so it doesn't really matter to them at that point. So they're probably going to go that route if they do continue on with the sequel. So guys, I would really love to hear your take on all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.